Alright guys, Jess with the Hot Rod Company. Here is part 2 of the 383 build. Let's check in with Nat. Alright, so what have we done since we last talked to you?
So I got all of the rocker studs torqued and everything aligned correctly on my guide plates. So now I'm going to figure out my push rod length. For these, I figured out already that they're 7.250 push rods. The way I figured that out is I take a marker and I mark down on the valve tip. Then what I do is I put the rocker down, make sure that it's in the seat, I rub it, and it pulls back and it has a slight line, and that shows me where the rocker is sitting on the rocker tip, or on the valve tip. And these are right in the middle, so those are going to be right where I want to be. So those are 7.250 push rods. Then what I do is I have 16 of these bad boys. They're hollow, so I make sure that they are all good. There's no debris, nothing gross or weird in them. It needs grease.
It needs grease.
No, not that shit. Put a little bit of blue on it.
Why blue? That's not what you said.
Does not.
Yes, it does. It's lubricant. It literally says greaser.
Want to get something on there that'll stick.
This doesn't stick very
You don't put it in.
good.
Nat's just helping everybody out.
You know, everybody comes to me for everything. He'll be back. Alright. So, I take a little bit of our awesome high performance assembly lube here from Lucas. Goop it up. I goop up all those push rod tips to where they sit in the lower lifters here. Make sure that they're all seated correctly. I'm just gonna put those in on every one of them. It's really important that everything's seated correctly so I get a true push rod length and then a true actual seat on everything. Nothing slapping around after it's been run. It's meticulous, but it's worth paying attention.
Oh, absolutely. Never want to throw a rod.
I also have my cylinders numbered, so when I go and do my actual valve adjustment, I know what cylinder I'm at and what firing order I'm going in, depending on the cam.
Okay.
Alright, so next, this is cylinder 1, so this cam, we're starting on 1. Into the top 2. Put my rocker on. Make sure that it's seated right back in that pocket, like I was telling you yesterday. Make sure it's back in there. Alright, now I'm going to set up for 0 lash. I take my poly locks here. I back the center of them out to the same even point on the top of them. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out 0 lash for my push rod. What I do is I basically try to spin it and tighten down the poly lock until it stops moving and there's no resistance, or actually full resistance.
Would you be able to explain lash for those newbies out there?
So you're supposed to have a specific amount of clearance on how tight the push rod and the rockers are pushing down on the lifter. And when we do 0 lash, we basically make it so the push rod has very slight resistance on with the rocker and the push rod and everything. And then what we do is we do a half turn, or I'm sorry, we do one side. I'll show you.
Okay.
What we're gonna do is we're gonna do one side of the poly lock like this, just one side. After I've done 0 lash, then what we're gonna do is hold the center here, tighten this to half. That's half. Tighten the center down. Tighten the whole thing up. And that makes sure that we're not too tight down on the lifter, that there isn't too much resistance between the push rod, the lifter, and the rocker, and that everything is tightened down to an even consistency so we're not holding open any valves or anything.
Asked and answered, all right.
Things can be too tight or too loose. It's really easy to mess up. Done my share of those, but it's all a learning curve. So don't be upset if you mess it up or anything. And then what you can come do is down here, like I said, we try and get these rockers as straight as possible on that valve tip. And then, like I said, there is a general rule of thumb. I think it's like 70%, 70 to 80% is what it's supposed to be at. But like I said, we definitely shoot for 90 or better just to make sure that we're getting on that valve tip perfectly.
Absolutely.
Next one I'm gonna do, so that was cylinder number 1. So the firing order is gonna be 1, 8, 4, 3, 6, 5, 7, 2. So the next one is gonna be 8. I'm just gonna turn this, ratchet, quarter turn, and now cylinder 8 is ready to adjust. I'm gonna go through the entire firing order, and then I'm gonna spin it around again just to make sure that all my rockers are set correctly, as well as everything isn't too loose or too tight, and just to make sure that we're giving a quality product to the customer.
All right, we'll watch you do cylinder 8, and then we'll come check in with you later.
Awesome. Make sure it is straight. One side, one side. And then
Check in with you here in a few.
no problem. Next will be the intake.
Awesome. All right, checking back in. Where are we at now?
So right now I'm putting on our pulley kit. We have a couple of different variations. This one right here is our regular pulley style, our polished regular pulley. These type of kits don't come with any AC. And then I'll show you guys also how to do how we put on our black AC kits from TSB. And those ones do come obviously with one, and those are powder coated black. And then we also do specialty paint jobs on those kits as well. So that's for a specific customer for his specific vehicle. So we do those with specific applications.
All right.
This one takes a little bit of clearancing and everything, like I was telling you before. So when we get these brackets in, we have to make sure that they actually clear the timing covers when we put them on. So I cleared that. I made sure that I got everything cleared on the water pumps and the power steering pumps, just to make sure that there's nothing bumping into anything and everything aligns correctly. I've torqued the crank pulley down, and I've already got my crank bolt in there, and I've torqued that to 70 foot-pounds as well.
Sweet.
So after doing these a few times, you get pretty used to building them, but definitely takes a little bit of practice.
Seems very tedious.
Yes, sir.
Maybe a little springer stuck inside of it.
I wonder if we did maybe try using a regular Chevy firing order.
Yeah, maybe. I'm sure good old Jimmy's helping him. Alright. We built this kit pretty much piece by piece. You just put the brackets on the power steering pump. Then attach the power steering pump to the water pump.
spacer on the back. I've clearanced this bolt here just to make sure. I clearance to the head about halfway, just to make sure that it doesn't run into the block and throw everything off.
We got you.
Bob likes to call that the essence of hot rodding. This is the adjustment bracket. So when you put the belt on and everything, take it on and off, this is how you're going to be able to loosen everything to be able to take it on and off. Really important. Loctite there. We have the spacers here.
Looks like our little team mascot over here, Roxy, is watching ya.
Oh yeah, she's looking for food. Come on, somewhere. Lunchtime a few minutes ago.
We love Roxy.
Like I said, this takes a little bit of finessing and fabrication to set the lining and everything, just to make sure that everything aligns correctly. Just
Nothing wrong with some finessing.
nope, it makes it a little bit more fun. That way you can say you actually had a hand in it.
That's right.
So there's those two. These are for the other side. Just some regular bolts here. Lots of lock washers. Lots of go Loctite. Make sure nothing's going anywhere. And then when I have everything kind of slackly put in there, just very loosely.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's the way to go, is put things on loosely and then tightening everything down. That's how I like to do it sometimes, especially with these kits. When it comes to these kits, sometimes things are a lot more close of a clearance than you'd like. So I take a little bit of silicone and I put it in this hole here. And I go on the outside. That's just how our gasket goes, so I just actually go to where the gasket lays, you'll see.
Fair enough.
Right here. And I'm going to do this on both sides, just to make sure that that water pump seals up good. Come down here. Just those gaskets are still in place. Got that whole kit down. Since I clearanced it and everything, nothing's knocking into the timing cover. The water pump's clearancing everything's just fine. Belt will still aligned to first. I'm gonna force all of these down to 30 foot-pounds.
So 30?
Yep.
So there honestly isn't one bolt that's not touched by us. That's pretty cool.
Absolutely.
I don't. Really call me.
Looking for anybody in specific?
No, yes, but not in this type.
No problem. Alright. That side's in.
This is our alternator. Super sorry.
Oh, my bad. If I'm ever in the way, just start throwing elbows.
No problem. We'll have a Loctite on every one of those. I had to clearance the turnbuckle as well, just to make sure that when we're adjusting and everything, or when Jimmy is, when he's putting the belt on the customer, that we're not running into the alternator and scratching up that polished surface.
Okay, I got it.
Like I said, I leave that loose. Sometimes it's easier to make things fit. That bolt in. Put that other one in. That's when I zap those ones down. Turn buckle in.
So that's like a brace for the alternator.
Yeah, it's a brace as well as it is an adjuster.
Oh,
Yep.
tensioner kind of thing.
Kind of. So, yeah, so it's an adjuster. So, like I was talking about with this, you have a little bit of play. The power
Yeah.
steering pump moves up and down, and it makes it so the belt that it goes on. There's two different belts. One that goes between the power steering pump and the crank pulley, and then another one that goes between all three of these.
Okay.
So, this tension is going to be needing to be different than this tension here. So
Okay.
that's what affects this one, this size tension, and that's what affects that one.
That makes sense. Heck yeah.
So, and then what I did with the other side, we just close this one. £40 Last thing on that one is our power steering pump pulley. These power steering pumps come with a key. That's the key to make sure that that pulley doesn't go anywhere. Put a key way on the pump,
Oh, okay.
and that's making sure we're aligned. Making sure when you're installing that pulley and that key not moving is a little bit of an art, but it can be done. And these ones don't need any Loctite because these ones have they're a special type of
Locking that.
locking nut, exactly.
Yeah.
Make sure that that's seated. Everything's locked down. Make sure that those pulleys are aligned on that side. And then these ones are going to be aligned over here. I leave the water pump pulley off for Jimmy to run it because he hooks his fan up to the front of it. And you can't do that with this specific style. He has to hook his fan up a different way.
Okay,
But
okay.
that's our regular pulley system, ready to do it a run stand. So after it comes to me, we send it off to Jimmy and he run stands it for 4 hours. Make sure that there's no hiccups, that everything's built correctly. Knowing me that I built it, everything is. And yeah, so, and that's just one of our standard kits. Like I said, no AC, but then I'll show you guys the AC ones too. These ones come with a spacer to make sure that the belt aligns a specific way. I already have the spacer on there. The bolt holes are aligned with the balancer, and then I have that one down to 70 foot-pounds as well, by 3 bolt.
Great.
Like I said, these kits come from TSB. And then this engine also has our slant-faced raised logo Chevy High Performance valve cover on it.
They look pretty killer. Matt's
those are one of
killing
my
it
favorites.
today, guys. We get to look at both pulley systems. That's pretty sweet. We appreciate it.
No problem. Do the same thing. Like you said, everything's torqued. And that's our timing mark for Jimmy, showing that it's at TDC. So when he does his timing and everything, or when the customer goes to do their timing, then it's all set up. So it's easy to see too with the timing mark. This water pump style comes with one giant bracket that the other accessories sits on.
So what's your favorite to install? What's your preference?
Preferably I like these ones. I can knock these ones out really quickly. The other ones take a lot of fabrication and everything. These ones, they don't take very much clearance. These are from TSB. Those other ones are from TSB as well, but these ones are just, I feel like, a lot simpler to just take care of and a little bit more self-explanatory. The one big bracket helps a lot. So
Sure, heck yeah.
makes things a lot simpler.
Make life easier, just run AC.
Alright, and then this is going to be a 730 seconds Allen. I'm going to need actually 5 in. I have gaskets, again, very important. And some gasket maker, very important. I feel like a cake decorator sometimes. Really feel like it when you're putting the intakes on. You have to do like pretty much like a little bit of a swirl to it,
Yeah,
and then you have to layer it on top just to make sure that you're getting a good seal.
almost like a welding, stacking dimes with
Exactly.
silicone. I got you.
Exactly. And this stuff is 1 minute gasket maker, so it cures within a minute. Makes it pretty nice for Jimmy, so nothing's all like confusing or anything when he has to get a hold of it.
Never good when it's gooey.
No. Makes a mess. It's everywhere. Same thing, line those holes up. One side. Two sides.
That black looks really sleek.
It definitely does. CBF, another maker of our kits, CBF, does lots of different kit styles. That being one of our reefer setups. It's one of my most favorites.
Absolutely. Looks badass.
And that's from an LS there, but on a 6.0, I'm pretty sure. But that one's one of my most favorites. Those kits are a little bit more intricate. They have idler pulleys and they have different sizes and everything. But as you can see, they're definitely worth a little extra money that you're going to spend on them. It just really pops. They have a black diamond setup as well. It's another one of my favorites, where it's rimmed in chrome, just like this kit, but just rimmed in chrome, and everything just really pops.
Heck yeah. Absolutely worth it.
This is one of our blackout setups for the most part, except for we have a polished pan on it, but we do it like a blackout edition where everything's black, including the kit, the intake, the timing cover, the pan. And that's another one of my favorites too. So I got 14. There's also a plug on the water pumps that we always take care of.
And that we plug off with just a little bit of gasket maker, and then the make sure that those are actually just in there hand tight. But it's important to not forget that. Definitely done that once or twice as well. So that'll be what I do next, really quick. This. A little bit of that brown goop in there. After this, it'll be the tensioner. Tensioner. There is a specific reason why I go in a specific order, because it's just easier to build from the bottom up, I feel. We keep the power steering pump off for Jimmy to run it. If it wasn't a run stand, it was going straight to a customer. I'd also install that for him.
Okay.
But that's when all that extra stuff is down there. I don't put the beauty cover on the tensioner. I don't put the power steering pump on for Jimmy. And then the water pump pulley as well, just because his setup to run it is a little bit different. So, but all that stuff I would normally install as well for the customer.
Oh, that makes sense.
If it wasn't getting a run stand, but I definitely recommend getting a run stand just because good insurance.
Doesn't it add like a 6-month warranty as well?
I think so. There's definitely an extension to the warranty, and it's honestly, it's great peace of mind, both for us and for the customer, to make sure that we're giving you guys a quality product, that there's no manufacturer defects or any hiccups, but also that, you know, the customer has a little bit of a safety net, just to make sure that their bases are covered too.
Absolutely. And what gets you more excited about a build is hearing it run.
Absolutely. And it always is great to hear, you know, something get ready to sound great, and you hear it running on the stand. Jimmy runs it for 4 hours, like I was saying, and it's definitely worth it when you know that you built something that awesome. And hearing all the different applications, people like to do different things, and so different engines sound different. And
I'm sure that's pretty rewarding for you to kind of hear your
builds.
builds.
It works great and that it sounds great, and I imagine the applications, because nowadays you guys have been putting on our invoices what kind of builds they're going into, and so I can just imagine it sitting in that 68 Camaro or something, just people getting ready to take off with it. So, let's see, where is
Just an FYI, guys, when you buy an engine from us, we would absolutely love to see your build. Send us pictures, videos along the way. We love seeing it.
that one's in there. Next, we can put on the cap for the AC. Goes on just like that. Got a couple little bolts there. These are little guys, no need for Loctite on those. I do it a little bit at each time just to make sure that it's crushing correctly, seating correctly. And then I always make sure that I spin it just to make sure that there's no noise, nothing binding up or anything, that I made sure it's seated correctly.
Makes sense.
These are just 5mm bolts. Loctite. Sure nothing's going anywhere. Acorn heads are a little bit softer. Round those out. And I looked it up online and actually on GM and everything, and there was like no real spec, like actual torque specs for like kits on there. Like, I was like, because I always wondered, 27 foot-pounds, is that what's really right for these? And I wonder what the OEM would maybe do. And the OEM like didn't have anything specific, just like little lines. Up for interpretation, I guess? I'm not sure.
Dealer's choice.
I guess so. I would do that. You can bleep that one out. That was just for him. But no, for real, it's kind of weird. Because Jimmy's asked me before. He's like, "What does it say on like the OEM manufacturing website?" So this kit comes with a different setup for this pulley. So it comes with a different alternator fin setup, which I like definitely a lot better.
Absolutely, it's gorgeous.
Just a little bit of Loctite since I took everything apart. Make sure this guy is not going anywhere. If you ever stood next to an engine while it's running, you know why. It's really good to make sure that everything's Loctite. Work down. It's very important. It's kind of intense. You have nothing defending you. Let me put the beauty cover on.
Never good when parts want to exit the chat.
There it is. After this, I just make sure that everything's hand tight on the alternator as well, and then I'm gonna double check my plugs and my heads, make sure that my valve covers are all good. I do a thorough just double check of everything before it goes off to Jimmy. And then Jimmy's gonna run both of these guys, and then they're off to shipping after that, after I finish up the kits. Those kits, like I said, if I just have to finish them up, it's just putting a pulley on or put the power steering on for the customer, the belt on and everything. And then we clean everything up, and then Dan ships them off.
So our 383 build that we've been following, so from here, it's going to go over to our run stand, right? All right. Well, we appreciate your time, sir. Thank you.
Not a problem.